I spent the last 100 days learning everything I could about email marketing for CPG and e-com brands. Here's what I learned. My name is Alexander Jimenez. I'm the founder and CEO of ixmedia. We help e-com and CPG brands scale their business using email marketing. Proof is in the pudding. Just check out the website, link in the description. So one of the first things I learned in the last 100 days was honestly, one of the main things just to get the first email out. I think a lot of people are very hesitant in the beginning to just put the first email out, or email design or first email campaign or flow out. When I think in reality, they're very stuck in the let me get it perfect for the first time without even implementing anything in the first place, right? And although it's good to prepare and it's good to learn about things, and you don't want to just go out with nothing, you still want to put your first email design out. Just to give you an example, this is literally my first YouTube video. Technically it's my second, but just to give you perspective, the first YouTube video I've ever made, I didn't even post it because it was just so booty. But the point is, obviously I'm not even fancy enough to probably record something in the green screen to make it look like a parent. It's probably just going to be a green screen. And I understand that it's going to suck in the beginning, but as time goes on, it's going to get better. Over time, it's going to get a lot better. Same thing with your email marketing designs, especially if you're wanting to do it on your own for other people. If you want to start your agency, if you want to be a freelancer, literally just get the first one out. And it's going to suck in the beginning. I'll even show you I'll show you later in the video pictures and videos of my first email compared to my last one. And although the first one sucks so bad, the difference over time is vastly it's so crazy. And at the end of the day, it's just because I've done it again and again and again, but it all started because of that first rep. So don't be hesitant, just get the first email out. And then also that kind of leads me to my second point, which is from this very smart artist, good artist copy, great artist steal, right? And you have to understand, at the end of the day, business is war, right? And listen, people are always going to be better than you. And I feel especially, and I said business because I'm obviously have my agency and this and that, but even if you have your own brand, don't be ashamed to be okay, let me just copy or let me just steal what this guy's email design looks like. At the end of the day, you have to understand, again, those people are better than you because they've been doing it for so long. But it's you got to work with what you have. So, I mean, websites like mill.com, really good emails, things like that, you could just check out email designs literally for free, from Macy's, Dollar Shave Club, Liquid Death, all these big CPG and e-com brands, and just copy their entire email. It's literally as simple as that. And, personally, I think if you're worried about that happening to you, about somebody copying you, or even if you're hesitant to do it in the first place, keep in mind that the difference between, personally, I think the difference between good people and great people are that great people are just simply better. And again, kind of leaning back to my phrase I just said, it's again, people are always going to be better than you, and you have to work with what you have. So it's okay, let me see what their email design is with my, $200 laptop that I got from my great grandpa, or just this iPhone that I have, and let me make this email design as good as I can, basing it off or stealing it from somebody else, and let me make it better. And I think that's how you get better over time, because if it's not broke, if it ain't broke, just copy the email. And I think that's going to be a big time, not only saver, but just in general, it's going to save you a lot of time, because you don't have to create it oh man, what am I going to do this for this idea? What am I going to make for this design? At the end of the day, just look at those big companies that have their emails out publicly, or just subscribe to their emails in general, and just copy a bunch of emails that they already have. So that's another big tip I'd say that. Another big thing, and funny enough, I learned this in the last 20 days out of 100, which is not good, but I mean, at the end of the day, I did learn it. And it's don't send out to your entire list. And, for especially for big brands that already, may be wise enough to know that they have something to work with, but arrogant enough to not actually work with it properly. Little phrase I have. If you have a big list, plus, let's just say big list in our case, plus 10,000. If you have a list of 10,000 subscribers or more, I think a lot of big brands say oh man, you know what? We have a big list. We could just send out to everybody. Everybody loves our stuff. Something doesn't stink. It's just awesome, right? And fundamentally, I think if you're arrogant enough to think that everybody's gonna open your email, number one, and number two, everybody's gonna want to open your email and see your email, game's lost, right? Just it's done. And the reason I say that is because there's a million different reasons. Number one, obviously people could just flies over here. Reason number one is obviously people could just not use their emails anymore. At the end of the day, they could just change emails. Another reason is they just don't open your emails in the last 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. every time you send an email to them, it's just hurting your own deliverability, number one, and number two, it's just getting sent spam. So they're never going to read it unless they're like crazy people that check their spam. And then also, just at the end of the day, like, why are you going to send stuff to people that don't want to open your stuff? And they may be for a multitude of reasons. So like, for one, like, you could obviously just have really bad emails, or they're just not the customer for you. Like, they might have just entered their, you might have an email pop up in your website and they might have entered it just because they thought they were going to buy something, but then they literally saw, oh, this is like literally the worst thing I could buy for them at that moment, and they're never going to open your email again. So I think like not only cleaning your list, but making sure you don't send out to your entire list is really valuable. A cool little trick that I learned was like, if you have a list like of 1,000 people, right, and out of those 1,000 people, you know that your open rate is getting like, and if you're sending to 1,000 people, your open rate's like at 20%, 30%, like really low. One really cool thing you could do is just, and this is what I learned in the last 20 days, is just shorting your list, or shorten the amount of people you're sending to from 1,000 to 15 days engaged. So out of those 1,000 people, how many are like opening your emails in the last 15 days, engaging with them, either creating an account, opening your emails, clicking them, whatever the case is, and then just sending emails to those people. The reason you want to do that is because Google is going to see your domain as like, okay, this is a email that this is a domain that whenever they send emails out to people, it's always going to spam or maybe promotions tab, instead of saying like, okay, this is like from a friend or like your mom or your dad or great cousin, that like actually every email that gets sent out, you're gonna most likely read it. So one really cool thing is, again, like sending emails to your 15 days engaged. Send it to those people, because automatically, like, that's going to get, like, without really having to change anything, that's going to make your email deliverability go higher, because more people are going to be opening your email. And then once you get that 20 to 30% range to like 50% open rate, then you could say out of that 15 day engaged list, open it to 20, 25, 30, 40, 60, and then some brands I know, like, they do it for up to like 90-day open engaged, or they send out to people that have engaged in their profile at least 90 days. So that's another big thing, and it's just make sure that you scrape your list, but don't send out to your entire list all the time. It's good if you have this big promotion or sale going on, but like in most of the times, if you're sending like valuetainment type of email or edutainment type of emails, then you could just send out to your last 15 days, 30 days, for just people that actually have a chance of buying your stuff. That's another thing. Perfectly leading into my next thing, which is like valuetainment. Obviously, I did not coin this. It was give the praise to Patrick Bet-David, and then also Alex Hormozy for coining edutainment. But like and this is like huge too. Like the majority of your email content, like I'm talking like 70 to 80% of all your emails should be valuetainment, valuable, entertaining, or edutainment, educational, and entertaining. The reason I say that is because if you don't send out stuff that people actually want to read, number one, it's obviously, like always, going to hurt your deliverability. But two, you're just making your brand seem worse and worse and worse. Everybody talks about like brand awareness. Like they say like, and I hear this so much because I work with a bunch of brands, and like 90% of the time they're like, oh, we want brand awareness. We want brand awareness. We want brand awareness. It's like, dude, yeah, but why do you want a brand awareness? So you could sell more of your stuff, right? And it's like, that's literally the place to build your brand awareness. And like, I have like a little list, like there's a bunch of different things you could do for valuetainment. Don't think you're limited, like, oh man, what am I going to send? There's a million and one different ways. Obviously, like, you want to let people know about your brand and useful information, right? Another big thing is like making stuff that's funny, like actually go in your culture, like go on Instagram, see what's popping off, and then it's like, okay, let me link something that's funny or very culture bound into my email marketing, like memes, GIFs, all that type of stuff. Comparison. Another big one is like tips and tricks. Like I think we did an email for a company, like shout out to Points, Tyler, the main man, if you're watching this for now. But like at the end of the day, like we sent out this email with his brand Points, Hummy Yummy. They're really good. I'll check them out personally. I could highly suggest that. But we sent out this email, and it was like, are you eating dessert the right way? And that was the entire basis of the email. And all it really was, it was like we gave like literally just 1, 2, 3 bullet points about like ways like to make sure that your desserts like taste good and everything. It was like make sure that it's healthy and you don't have any fatty oils, and can you trust the company that's making the product, and stuff like that. And that email like performed really well, like compared to like a lot of like, I think especially like because I work with a few brands, like compared to like some other brands that are like, we may just push out like very promotional heavy emails. Like that one did as good as like a promotional heavy email would have, and it was literally talked nothing about the product, like literally nothing. It was literally just how can people make dessert better. And at the end of the day, we obviously had the CTA where it was like shop all three, which it was 3 bullet points, shop something that was all three. And I think we had like one picture where, funny enough, I think it was me holding up the product. But like besides that, like it was literally just the fact that we put out information that people actually wanted to read. It was actually helpful and it looked cool. At the end of the day, that email actually made a lot of sales. I don't want to say crushed because I'll tell you an email that did crush later in a second. But it did really, really well. And again, just send stuff that people actually want to see. Valuetainment is so really, really important edutainment. And also, like, it should be, again, like 70 to 80% of your entire content. And I'll get into more, like, why you don't want to, like, make sure you keep sending promotional videos all again and again and again, because it just devaluates the brand. But, I mean, again, like, in return of, like, ROI, like in seeing like, okay, this is how much I have to put in terms of getting this out of my emails. Like that's one of the biggest things, because number one, it's making your brand awareness get better, because as I mentioned, people talk about brand awareness all the time. It makes the brand awareness get better. It makes people fall in love with the brand. And big thing is that they actually want to open and read your emails. And another huge thing that people don't underestimate, like don't value properly, I would say, is literally having and I talked about this in the beginning, but having the deliverability on check. Because if you're sending stuff that people want to open, they're going to want to open it again and again and again. So eventually, like, people are going to want to watch your stuff and read your stuff. So that's why you keep clicking on your emails. And a big way to do that, obviously, is valuetainment, edutainment type of content. So that's quite important to you. And I think I just mentioned it right now. It's a big thing is like, don't I don't want to say the word. I'm not gonna spell it. Don't Lana Rhodes yourself out, I would say. If you're in somewhat memes and everything, you kind of understand what I'm talking about. But don't just devalue your brand. I'm trying to get to that point. I'll make it for PG-13. Don't devalue your brand. And I'll be quick about this. Like, I'm not gonna yap too much on this, but like, if you only promote discounts, or if you're always like just sending promotional stuff, you're gonna shoot yourself in the foot when eventually, like, you actually have a big discount coming up. It's gonna seem super, super, super low value because you always send discounts, right? It's like that one friend that always helps you out, right? He's always giving you favors. He's always doing this. He's always doing that, and he never asks for a favor. And in this case, it's like you're always sending content. You're always sending stuff, you know, that people that they actually want to read, that they all actually want to open. And you're very rarely, if not ever, sending like a promotion or like buy your stuff type of thing. And he's like that friend that's always picking you up from work or doing this or doing that. And the one time that he's like, dude, can you spot me $50? Or like, dude, can you take me somewhere? You do it. Why? Because his reputation of being such a good person, such a good friend, gives you the credibility to say, you know what? He's never asked me for one thing in his life. I have to do this for him. There's a funny story about Dana White. Then that's how he started the UFC. Like, I'm a big fighting fan. I fight a lot. So I'm getting off point with that. Just search up like Dana White, how he started the UFC. It talks about winning and everything. But the point I'm getting at is, like, if you keep sending emails that are just super promotional, super like sales based, you're not really gonna get anywhere with it. Especially long term, because when a big deal, like a Black Friday deal or like a Christmas deal comes up, even if it's like a real discount, like people like actually get 15% off when you send those emails, the moment that you actually want to buy, like a Black Friday, Christmas sales, Halloween, whatever, they're not, because they're thinking in their mind, oh, it's just like any other sale. Why am I going to buy? What makes it different? So that's a big thing. Don't Lana Rhodes yourself out. PG-13, but like, just make sure you don't devalue your brand. Send stuff that people actually want to read. Big thing, and I was talking like, you want to talk about emails that crush. By far the most underrated thing like I've ever seen in email. My last 100 days, it's crazy how underrated this is. Text-based emails. Like, I don't think people understand. I'll give you an example. We ran a text-based email, and fun enough, I think it was like one of the first text-based emails I've ever ran. I think it was like halfway into like me doing email marketing and everything, and I was sure starting to get a flow of things, and I'm already sending emails and everything. And about halfway in, I'm talking to this particular brand, and we're like, okay, let's launch this Mother's Day sale. And it's a big Mother's Day sale. We plan out like 3 emails. All right, the day before Mother's Day, we're gonna send like this big design thing. It's gonna look cool, and it was like for me personally, it was a big step up because it made it look really cool. And then the second day, which was on Mother's Day, we were gonna send another one. It's like, okay, actually 15% off or 20 for whatever the discount was. Make sure you buy. That was that. And then the last email wasn't design, it was just text-based email. And just for people that don't know, text-based is just literally, it's like HTML. It's just literally, you type it out, it's just text. You can have an image of your product, like you can just upload in the text, but like 90% of the time it's just going to be text-based. There's no design. But on the day after Mother's Day, and I don't know if my editing skills are cool enough to have the thing pop up. If I can, cool. If I can't. But in the email, it was pretty much, and I think it was like, what was it? It was like, it was super short. It was like, hey, our website developer forgot to turn off like the coupon code or whatever. This is like, we just wanted to remind you that, we have like one more day left, or they're going to turn it off today. Just want to let you know to buy it, whatever. This email did more sales than the Mother's Day email and the day before Mother's Day email combined. And to this day, I don't think it was the best performing in terms of sales, but it's by far like the top 5 emails we've ever sent out, like I've personally ever sent out. And when I tell you how short this was, and like the person that like I did this for in the brand and everything, like he's gonna know exactly what I'm talking about if he's watching this. And I'll get a little insight. When I wrote that email, like I literally woke up in the morning and I was like, oh shoot, I forgot to make this email. And I had this whole thing like designed for planning and everything, and I was like, okay, you know what, let me just type it out real quick. And I typed it out. It took me like 15-20 minutes, really, really short. I went to the gym, right? It's like 10 in the morning at this point. I go to the gym, go back, and when I get back to my laptop, to that day, crushed every other sale ever. Like every other email, like it was literally had more sales than like any other email we've ever launched, like leading to like even some flows at that point, because like we just launched flows around the same time. So it literally crushed. And then within that being said, it was only like 3 hours into the day. So like 6, 7, 8 hours later, like we just made more and more and more sales, and it ended up being like one of the best, to that day, the best email ever. Not best email like ever like we've ever ran, but like probably top 5 in terms of like actually sales made into like how many people actually bought. It was probably like top 1, top 2. So yeah, it was super successful. But like the point I'm trying to make is like text-based emails, super underrated. Big thing, just make sure that it matches the tone of the brand. I think a lot of brands get that wrong. It'll be like, if the brand's very colorful and poppy, and you're very like, oh, get 15% off. I don't even, you know what I mean? And then you send an email, a text-based email, and it's like, get 15% off. No. It's like, yo, chill out, dude. It's a little weird. So yeah, just make sure it just matches the tone of your brand, your actual company, and just you'll be fine. And then the last thing I want to talk about, it's not even, I mean, it is for brands and it's going to apply to anybody, but like this is more for like people like one-on-one and everything. It's like constantly learn. When you constantly learn, it puts you in a very interesting position that you're never going to be out of ammo. And what I mean by that is you're always thinking to yourself, if something fails, like, okay, this might have failed, and I'm just saying because failure is like very important in life, and it's like, okay, this email in this specific example might have failed, but I know that there's so many other things that I know that I can use in the next email that I do, in the next email that I do, the next email that I do, that I'm going to make sure this never happens again. And again, this completely applied in everything in life, and it's like, the point is like you always have to constantly learn, because like I'll give you an example. If you're starting out a marketing agency or whatever, in the beginning, or let's just say you're starting email for the first time, you're a freelancer, you're a marketing agency, and you just want to learn everything you can about emails. The first 10, 15, 20 days, you'll learn everything you can about email marketing. Like literally everything. You'll watch all the YouTube videos, all the shorts, 2x speed and everything, and you'll learn the whole deal. And then you actually start getting traction, right? At a certain period of time, you're just going to start getting more and more emails, and you're going to be more successful. You might get more clients, this and that. But then it gets to a point where it's like, and I've been a victim of this too, it's like, okay, you know what, I'm starting to learn so much. Your learning curve, although it gets like better and better and better, you're learning a lot, it's going to get to a point where the amount of stuff you're learning is going to get lower and lower and lower. And although you could still be growing, the rate you're going to be growing in is not going to be as fast as if you kept on learning. And what happens typically if you just never learn again, which it's almost impossible, but like you get the point, you're going to start plateauing, and if not going down. And then it's like everybody else in the market, your competitors, people against you, like they're going to be learning more and more and more, and eventually they're going to catch up with you, if not surpass you. And like that's huge for people, because at the end of the day, like if you don't have that in the back pocket, like if you're not constantly learning, even if it's like 20-30 minutes a day, every day, YouTube, books, podcasts, whatever the case may be, if you're not constantly learning, that it's never going to be, you're never going to get anywhere. And learning comes in so many shapes, and it's in various shapes and forms and whatever, but like just keep on learning. And another big thing, and I'll end it off like this, is consistency, right? I had this person was saying, and Alex, I know you're going to look back, 10, 15, 20 years from now when, well, when, And you're going to be looking back at this, and I stand by this, and you know where you have it and you wrote it and everything. It's like long periods of a regimented life equate to exponential success. And if you keep doing things for a long period of time, you're very regimented about how you do it, and you just keep learning. Again, in this case, it's learning. But if you keep doing emails, and you keep doing this, and you keep doing that, and just every single day you constantly put more and more and more and more effort in it, whatever it is you're going to do, eventually you're going to kick everyone's ass, and you're going to win eventually, and you're going to do so much better. And obviously have God on your side and Jesus Christ, but like, just make sure that you do your absolute best, and then you just keep constantly learning, and just keep doing what you got to do. I'm more talking to myself right now, but yeah. So anyways, I hope this video helped. It's first one ever, so we're technically it's the second one, but the first one was just so horrible that I was like, yeah, I have to redo this. But yeah, so hopefully this video helped you guys out. I'm sure it helped me out because it's my first video, so that's a big milestone. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Alexander Jimenez the Great, signing out. Peace.